You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. Firstly, going to be speaking to Russell. It's great to have you back here in the studio.
Good evening, Daniel. It's great to be back, and thanks for having us. As you know, I've been employed by Swale Borough Council for over 6 years as an environment officer, and part of my role is to deal with a wide range of environmental issues ranging from noise, alarms, dog barking, amplified music. But specifically tonight, I'd like to talk about bonfires and firework displays, and especially firework parties that are obviously going to be sort of coming soon.
And I'd imagine this must be a busy time of year for your department.
Yes, Daniel. During the autumn, our department receives a great deal of complaints regarding bonfires. The first point that residents should be aware is that it's perfectly legal for yourself or your neighbour to light a bonfire, and that the most common items that are burned this time of year is garden waste, for example, leaves and branches that have been cut down. It's perfectly acceptable, and providing that the fires aren't excessive, then the council wouldn't have an issue with this. As I say, where the council get involved is where fires are being lit excessively, and the council will then get involved if a complaint comes in about excessive smoke from fires. Then council will get involved, investigate whether a nuisance is being caused by the smoke, and go from there. Also, there's a sort of common misconception that people can burn anything in their back gardens, and this isn't the case. Anything that will give rise to black smoke, plastics, or treated wood, anything like that, is strictly forbidden, and the council will take action if that's reported to us. So, just a word of warning to people that are planning on lighting a fire in the coming weeks or any time for that matter.
And what should residents do if they are planning a firework party this year, Russell?
Well, Daniel, the first thing that residents must always consider with any kind of outdoor party or gathering is how many people will my party affect. If you're planning on having music outside, amplified music will travel a great distance, and in built up areas you could potentially be affecting hundreds of people, and not just your direct neighbours that you've maybe knocked out and informed that you're having a party. So you have to consider the effect your music's going to have on residents around you, and say the impact and how far that music's going to travel. Your immediate neighbours, or if you know them, it could always be a good idea inviting them, should that be an option to you. So that's one step you could take with residents that are close by.
So what other steps could residents take?
Well, they could consider what time they're playing loud music up to, and what times during the evening they would look to reducing the level of noise. I won't give out any times. I believe that's up to sort of residents to decide when is a sensible time to reduce the levels of their music. Also, the party organiser has a responsibility for the noise of their guests as they leave the property, and they should advise their guests to leave quietly and remove any glasses or litter off them before they leave. From a firework perspective, the council doesn't want to come across as party poopers. However, fireworks should not be lit after 11 p.m, with the exception of a number of specific sort of dates around the year, i.e. Bonfire Night, New Year's Eve, Chinese New Year, Diwali. Bonfire Night in particular has a curfew of midnight, so residents should be aware of this. They shouldn't be lighting fireworks after that time, and just generally just be responsible. Remember, you've got a lot of neighbours around you. Fireworks are incredibly dangerous, and act responsibly if you're planning to have one of these parties at your property.
Been joined in the studio with Russell, the Environmental Officer, and Tim Oxley, the Animal Control Officer. We're next going to be talking to Tim. Tim, as always, it's great to have you here in the studio.
Hello, Daniel. Yeah, it's great to be back.
I was hoping you could start off with perhaps talking a little bit about how you work with Russell and how that kind of works.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to point that out. We're part of the Environment Response Team. Russell's Environment Enforcement Officer. I'm obviously Dog Control. But our paths do cross quite a lot. If, for example, there's a complaint about dog noise, then jobs like that, we work together very closely. It's also very good that Russell has an almost uncanny encyclopedic knowledge of music. So when there's an argument in the office as to who's singing what, he's always got the right answer there.
So Russell was talking about fireworks and sort of firework parties and that, and I suppose that has an impact on animals and the surrounding wildlife as well.
It does, and it's something, I mean, we often talk about the difference between us and our pets. And one of the things I often say is that if you want to understand what your dog's doing, then think dog, don't think human. And I think really with fireworks, if you take, just for example, a young dog, I don't know, it's born, dogs tend to be born towards the end of the year. By the time November comes round, it's never experienced the sounds of fireworks going off. It's learnt, it's almost a year old, it's probably almost an adult dog by then in its own mind. It's learnt lots of things, lots of responses to noises, but it's never heard fireworks. Now, fireworks by their very nature are designed to be scary. They're designed to make loud bangs, they're designed to make screeches, and these are all brand new noises to a dog. And the other thing I think you should remember is that dogs' senses are far, far better than ours. So a dog can, as we all know, with dog whistles, we can't hear them, but dogs can. So if you imagine a firework that screeches really loudly and very high-pitched, we don't know how much more a dog can hear of that, and it's very, very frightening for them. Also, again, with wildlife, you've got wild animals around, and suddenly towards the end of the year we start creating all these really frightening noises. So it is a problem. What I would recommend really, look, if you've got cats and cats, I still talk about cats as well, that comes into it, on firework night, or any time when there's going to be fireworks, get them indoors, get the windows shut, put them somewhere in the house that's nice and secure so that they if possible can't hear the noises. Play some, leave a radio on or something just to make them feel secure.
And I know you wanted to carry on talking about wildlife.
Well, I think we've got a responsibility obviously for our pets, but we've also got a responsibility for the wildlife that lives around us. And firework night, bonfire night, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people, and enjoy it, please enjoy it. I'd be wrong to say that you shouldn't have your own displays at home, because I did when my daughter was little. I would personally now recommend you go to an organised display, but I still remember the fun that we used to have at home in a controlled environment, obviously. But it does then involve having, as Russell spoke about earlier on, a bonfire. And quite often we would maybe build the bonfire at the weekend and then come I don't know what day November the 5th is this year, I've not even looked yet, but it might be halfway through the week, set light to the thing, and we haven't taken into account that there could be small creatures like hedgehogs that have decided here's a nice warm place that we're going to nestle up in. And hedgehogs, as we all know, are on the decline, and we need to encourage these things in our garden and look after them so that they're safe. They're a great asset to the garden. So before you light a bonfire, just check, underneath, just to make sure that nothing's gone to sleep in there. Getting back to animals again and their fear of loud bangs and fireworks. If you have got dogs and you've experienced it in the past, now's the time just to pop along to your vet or maybe one of the pet shops and just ask for some advice on some form of herbal, I don't know what you call it, but some form of herbal medicine or something you can give them just to help calm them down, so that by the time the night comes they're a little bit spaced out and don't really care.
And I think, Tim, you next wanted to talk about microchipping. Yeah,
I did, and I mentioned it before, but obviously it's always worth repeating these things. As of the 6th of April next year, any dog aged 8 weeks or above must be microchipped by law. So now is the time, if your dog isn't microchipped, to get it done. It makes just so much sense. We've had some very good, 2 weeks ago, we picked up a dog that was stolen from Dover 2 years ago. and because of the microchip, we was able to get that dog back to its rightful owner, and they were so happy to do it. So that's one of the nice parts about the job. But it will be a legal requirement, and not only getting the dog microchip, but also making sure that the details that the database companies hold about your dog are up to date. Because there's no point in having the dog microchipped if the wrong details are on there. And currently that's something that we find all the time. We'll find a dog is microchipped, but the details are maybe 2 or 3 owners out of date. So as of April next year, all dogs 8 weeks and above must be microchipped. If they're not, then if we come across a dog that isn't, we will serve a 21-day notice, and failure to comply with that notice to get the dog microchipped will be the offence. Now, there's no real excuse, I have to say. Microchipping is very, very cheap. There are events being held. We had a brilliant one on the 10th down at Tesco's. PCSO Lauren McCall organised that, and 145 dogs were microchipped on that one day, which was a fantastic result. But just get the dog microchipped for the sake of £10-15. It's peace of mind, and by April your dog will be legally ready.
I know you wanted to talk about Bag It, Bin It, Win It.
Yeah, this is a nice promotion that we ran a couple of years ago, and we're running it again now right through until the end of November. The whole idea about it, and we talk about this, Daniel, so much about dog fouling, and again, the point I always make is that it's a small percentage of people that create the problem of dog fouling around the borough. Probably 5%, if that. But out of 100 people walking their dogs, if 5 don't pick up, you've got 5 lumps of dog's mess, which then create the problem. But we do recognise that the majority of people are responsible, and thank you all very much for being like that. So Bag It, Bin It, Win It is a way of effectively recognising the responsible dog walkers. So what we do, and if you see us approaching and you're walking your dog and you're doing the right thing, please don't just run away. We're coming up to you to say thank you very much. We've seen you clearing up after your dog. And we'll give you a little voucher which goes into a drawer, and then early December the drawer will get the winner will be selected, and they'll win a nice little digital camera as a thank you. So it's a bit of fun. It's a good reason for us to stop and chat to people doing the right thing rather than always chasing after those that aren't, and just a way really of acknowledging that most people are brilliant, and it's just the few 5% that cause the problems. And hopefully a promotion like this will make those other people think, well, hang on a second, I suppose I better do the right thing and clear up as well.
Was there any useful contact details you wanted to give out to our listeners?
Yes, that would be great, Daniel. If you want to contact the council with a problem, like Russell's been talking about, of noise or bonfires or anything like that, and also it's the same number if you find a stray dog during office hours, it's 01795 417 850, 01795 417 850. Out of hours, we do operate an out of hours noise service which runs Saturday nights from 9 until 1, Friday nights from 9 till 1 and Saturday nights from 9 till 1, and that out of hours number is 01795 417 575. And if you find a stray dog out of hours, so that's from 5 till 9 Monday to Fridays and 9 till 9 weekends and bank holidays, the number is 07795 237 479.
Tim and Russell, I'd like to thank you very much for coming along.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Cheers.